I'm worried about Muslims who know the exact Muslim Islamic message and get stick to it. That's what it worries me. And I'm sure there are some of them who do that.
What happened to you that you didn't follow your mother's footsteps?
I have had very unique circumstances, and when people ask me why we don't hear more Muslim women like you express themselves in the same way, I believe you have to have special or unique character in order to be able to go against your own religion, against your own culture. It is not easy. It has been very draining. I said whatever I said about Islam, my life will never be the same. So I understand why Muslim women don't do it more often, because it's very draining. And as I said, you have to be equipped with special power, special strength to do that. And I am.
But there were also circumstances in your life that make you see really, like what? What was the pitiful event in your life?
I am a medical doctor. It helped me to evaluate my teachings under my scientific microscope. I was born and raised as a Muslim and lived for 30 years of my life under Islamic Sharia. Then I moved to a free country. I felt, I was protected by the law and I was free enough to express my life. Plus, my husband plays a role in shaping, helping me actually to shape my thoughts about Islam.
I've heard you tell the story of your niece who was married to...
many experiences, many experiences. And it took me a book called The God Who Hates to answer your question, because it didn't happen overnight. There were many turning points of my life, and the story of my niece was one of it. But I couldn't realize the reason behind my niece's tragedy until I went and I lived in a free society.
And what did you then realize about Islam that is so bad?
Because I give you one example. My niece was forced to marry her cousin when she was 11. He was over 40. He was very abusive man, and she didn't have the right to ask for divorce. Her father was not able to help her many times. She escaped from her husband's house to her father's, begging her dad to allow her to stay with her family, and he would say, it's shame for a Muslim woman to leave her husband's house without his permission. Go back, I will talk to him, I promise he will be better. Eventually, she committed suicide, leaving 4 children behind. Her marriage was valid under Islamic Sharia. And that's where I started question myself. What kind of religious law that allows a man over 40 to marry a child at the age of 11? When I found out, even I knew that before, but I wasn't able to distinguish between, I was brainwashed to the point I wasn't able to distinguish between right and wrong. I knew that Muhammad married his second wife, Aisha, when she was 9, and some even texts say she was 6. He was over 50. And I didn't realize when I was living under Islamic Sharia that that's not acceptable. So living in the United States has helped me to open my mind, to open my eyes, and I started to question myself. What kind of prophet, when he married a very young girl, 9 years old, and he was her grandfather's age? So I started from there. And eventually, I have become who I am today.
But what you described just a moment ago would be illegal in the Netherlands. You cannot marry someone who's underage, for example.
But some Muslims are trying to apply Islamic Sharia. And
here in the Netherlands?
I heard everywhere in the West. There, I heard that I was very involved with my Muslim community in the United States. And I had heard it a million times that they were here to eventually replace the American Constitution with Islamic Sharia. And this is their goal, this is their mission, is to spread Islam and to take over. This is the underlying foundation of Islam. Yeah. We are indoctrinated at very early age to believe in it, to believe that we have to fight for the sake of Allah. Some of them don't because they are weak to do it. They don't have the means to do it. And once they do, they will do it.
You've said, I've decided to fight Islam itself, not just extremism, Wahhabism, but Islam.
Because I don't believe there is radical Islam. I truly believe the term radical Islam is Western trademark. The West invented this term for the sake of being politically correct. Growing up in Syria, I had never heard of radical Islam, Wahhabi Islam, militant Islam, political Islam. I heard only of one Islam, the normal Islam.
And you say all Islam is bad?
No doubt about it. And in order for you to understand what I mean by that, you need to read the Quran. And the biggest problem is with Muhammad's life, the way he conducted his life. At the age of 8, 9, we were taught at school that Muhammad beheaded 800 Jewish men in one night. And proudly, we read in our books that he slept. They said he married, but he slept with a woman, a Jewish woman, whose her husband, her father, and her brother were killed at the same night. So what kind of message you're sending to your young children when you teach them this type of teachings? This question, I am doing what I am doing for the sake of Muslims. I am not against Muslims. I dream of a day that my country will become a free country like Holland. I don't want to see Holland or any other Western country to become a country like Syria, oppressive and oppressed country like Syria. This is my dream. I'm doing it for the sake of Muslims, especially Muslim women. They are suffering for 1400 years. They have never been challenged or forced to take a deep look into their teachings and to reform these teachings. We need to do it.
You became a YouTube hit when you appeared on Al Jazeera in 06, and you were saying, I think that was the key thing in that speech, that we are not, you were discussing Samuel Huntington's book, a clash of civilization. You saw another clash. What kind of clash did you see?
Between civilization and backwardness. That's how I see it.